Hi everyone, welcome. We will be presenting you a guide on IISMA funding mechanism. Your presenter today is awardees of University of Waterloo. My name is Shannice and my fellow awardee Jamilah. Enjoy and we hope this helps. We have 7 major contents which will be started on the flow of funding, submission procedure, which will include certain things that need to be careful with, such as document name format and the funding component. We will also highlight common mistakes so you can prevent this from happening. And lastly is the accountability report to the ministry. First off is how all of this works. Who were in charge and when will the awardees receive the funding. So, of course, the awardees has to submit the submission document to the IISMA portal within the deadline that were informed to you in the Telegram group chat. This will be then reviewed by the IISMA funding team and they will make a submission document to the LPDP. This process will take 3 days. After 3 days, the BAMAWA will authorize the funding submission from IISMA to LPDP, about 5 days of work. LPDP will then receive the document and the verification process starts. They will also record and authorize, which will be sent to the bank LPDP to execute the transfer process to the IISMA awardees. Give and take, the awardees will be receiving the funds within 22 days of work. So let's discuss about the tricky part, which is the submission procedure. In here, you need to pay attention to the deadline, name format, and the funding component for the documents that you were submitting. Name format of the document will be host university _ full name _ funding component. For instance, my funding document, which will be Waterloo _ Shannice Fidelia Aquila _ visa application. The funding component is related depending on what funding you want to submit. So this submission will be done collectively per your host university. Next one is for the name format. You have to put the correct name and component. Please check your host university name in the link that you were provided for the exact name that was asked. For instance, for the University of Waterloo, we have to write Waterloo. So we have to use that name for every name document that we are submitting. The other thing is that you need to correctly put the funding component that only provided by the IISMA team. What is the funding component that were provided? There were registration fee, tuition fee, transportation, which means the plane ticket, and then there are settlement allowance, living allowance, 1 or 2 for the first one or the second one. And then next one is visa application, medical insurance, PCR, quarantine, and other agencies. So for the submission form, please refrain from using your own template. Use the template that were provided by IISMA. In the form, please complete and fill your credentials in a correct manner. Always check your identity, bank account number, and the amount. Please make sure that you fill the description, details, and attachments. You can see in the form that I was presenting, you need to attach certain documents for your reimbursements. There are 3 that you need to attach, which is payment invoice, summary fees, and other specific documents that was asked to fulfill each of the funding document. For instance, in your visa application, you need to attach your letter of admission to the host universities that you are going to go. It is required to do so that the IISMA or the LPDP can verify your visa application. There are funding components that were paid to the host university directly. Your registration fee and tuition fee will be transferred directly from LPDP to the host university. Other than that, it will be paid directly to you. The funding components that were paid directly to you are paid in 2 methods, at cost and the lump sum. At cost means that you will be paid as the amount that you are paid for. For example, in the visa application, you pay 235 Canadian dollars. The reimbursements will grant you the exact 235 Canadian dollars for the visa application. Lump sum means that you will be paid as the nominal that was set by the LPDB. This varies among the countries, so for the exact number for your host university or country, please check in the guidebook. For instance, in my country, Canada, we will be receiving 1,800 Canadian dollars. Funding component that will be paid lump sum is your settlement allowance and living allowance. So it is advised to manage your money wisely. What else do you need to know? There are certain things that you need to understand. That the first one is the reimbursement will be paid to you in foreign currency depending on where your host university resides. I am an awardee of Waterloo, Canada, so my reimbursement will be paid in Canadian dollars. After you submit the documents, you can only do revision within 12 hours after the submission. If you are a student representative, it is your duty to check every one of your fellow awardee documents to make sure that they were in line with IISMA procedure. And then the next one is that the document after your study will be sent physically to the ministry. So please keep it safe, somewhere safe, and please don't delete the documents.
I'm going to explain about the submission per component. First, there is a registration fee, which is for the IISMA recipients within the academic college environment. Registration fees are generally paid directly or the lump sum. Next, there is tuition fee, which is the cost of the IISMA scholarship for recipients participating in the program. These fees are also generally paid in lump sum. And next, there is settlement allowance, which is arrival funds that are given to the participant for movement from their city of domicile to the city of the host uni. These fees are generally paid in lump sum. Next, there is the living allowance, period 1, which is submitted for payment of living expenses for the first 3 months. These fees are generally paid in lump sum. Living allowance period 2 is for the next 3 months after the first period, and these fees are generally paid directly, same as the first living allowance. And there's a transportation fee, which is funds that are given for the journey to and from the participant's domicile to the activity location, which includes a flight ticket and intercity train ticket. The participant can choose one between both. Next, there is visa application fee, which is visa fees that are paid according to the visa application rate for the country of study destination. These fees are generally paid in reimbursement. Next, there is health insurance. This insurance amount, which is regulated by the destination university, will be paid at cost for the basic plan SIM based on the nominal stated in the invoice. Next, there is PCR test fee, which are funds used for COVID tests in order to fly to the destination country. The funds are paid directly to participants with a maximum quota of 5 PCR tests. Next, there is quarantine fee, which is funds issued for mandatory quarantine when entering the territory of a country and paid directly to a quarantine service providers or reimbursement. Next, there is force majeure, which is transportation costs for returning home or other costs needed in the event of the conditions like death or sickness, which can interfere with activities or disaster, whether it's natural and social. Next, there are common mistakes on submitting the documents, such as unreadable or blurry scanned documents, incomplete documents which doesn't fulfill requirements, incorrect bank account information, submission nominal that doesn't match with invoice or payment proof, including additional costs that aren't covered in the documents like medical checkup, priority fees, or administrative costs. And next, for collective payments, information attached are about payment to the parties account paid and not the account who perform collective payment. Next, the submitter doesn't provide description for attached picture, or if the application is made more than once, the scholarship recipient must fill out form and include separate and combined documents into one PDF file. Next, there is original accountability documents report. All documents that have been submitted and uploaded by the scholarship recipient via the TMS on the IISMA dashboard, the hard copy document must also be saved and then submitted to the Ministry of Education, Culture, Research, and Technology after the study period ends. Scholarship recipients are required to administer and storage of all hard copies of accountability documents, administrative, and financial documents in one document folder. After students finish their studies and arrive in their homeland, all of these documents are sent to the Directorate of the Higher Education, Ministry of Education, Culture, Research, Technology through their respective International Affairs Office or KUI. Documents to be administered and stored in one folder. The list of the documents are stamped student statement, stamped student commitment letter, stamped parental approval letter, absolute accountability letter or FPTGM with stamp duty, letter of acceptance, boarding pass for local and international flights on round trip, visa proof, proof of self-report, all accountable documents attached to each scholarship component disbursement, original and copy, and as well as other documents that will be informed later. This picture shows what will need to be shown in the cover of the document checklist. Thank you.